Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Erin on Education. Today we have another very special guest, Daryl Sparks. How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm well. I'm glad you're here today because you are really out there doing a lot. So please tell me about what you do and educate us.
Okay, well, I'm part of the freshwater. Freshwater Coalition,
Mm-hmm.
and the plan was to go around the houses and collect samples so we could test that water and provide um, a well-being for the community, make sure they're feeling safe
Right?
and they understand what the problem is, making sure we give answers,
Mm-hmm.
provide resources,
Mm-hmm.
and just making sure that they are okay and understanding where they are.
Okay. And you're actually located at the Flint Development Center, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you actually just recently, had the results from the houses that you tested, right? Could you tell us
Yes.
about that? How did that go?
So
And tell us
last
about when the event was.
okay. So last week on the 15th Tuesday, so
Okay.
last week today,
Yep.
we had people come in that had their water tested. We made sure everybody knew. We made calls, and people
Okay.
came down. And Latia, who was my boss and who was the one who brought everything together,
Mm-hmm.
told us that the results were actually very good. There were only like 1 to 2 houses that had like lead levels that we were concerned with.
Okay. Could you talk about that a little bit? Those two houses, like what kind of how bad were the results? And if you could tell us a little bit about the logistics, because I know you all are very educated on that.
So the way you measure lead is there's like a ppf value
Okay.
in water, and you have your 3 levels where it's like you're safe when it's like 0, and then you have the federally acceptable level, which is like no higher than 14.
Okay.
And then above that, 15 and above is where it's like you need to like do something, like you can like, because when I don't think we had anybody that had like super high levels of lead, but like they were concerning to us, so we just told them that we're not a certified lab, so we gave their results to another certified lab
Okay.
so that they could use those results and take them to like be.
To be retested to see if, to verify everything, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And then when they get those results back, they'll be able to take that and like be able to go to court or make sure they can be like financially stable.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about, you have these kits. I visited where you all are. You were showing me everything you have, what you take to the sites, the houses. Tell me about what the process is like.
So when we go to a house, there are several things in a kit. There is the bottle of which is cleaned out thoroughly, and you
Okay.
have like nothing in it. So like if it is contaminated, we had a separate bottle which was filled with water with 0 ppb lead levels.
Okay.
So if something went wrong, we would know.
Mhm.
So that would also be in the kit. An empty bottle that we would use, 2 empty bottles we would use to take samples. One would be with filter on and one with filter off. And then if someone didn't have a filter, we would just flush their water out through the pipes.
Mhm.
So we would take that.
Okay.
And then there would be gloves, and also we wouldn't contaminate the bottle. Chain of custody form, which is like, hey, we're coming in here. Are you
Mhm.
giving us permission? And then like later, if you want to use this
Okay.
information to like have more like testing done when the
Mhm.
lab is built, you can come up and do that.
Okay.
And then there was a survey given us, just like when was the last time your water was used
Mhm.
before we came in today. Have you had any problems? Have you noticed anything like odor, smell
Right. So
with your
tell me about
water?
that though. Like when you went and tested the water. I know you were telling me about, immediate signs you see, that automatically. Okay.
So like there are several people in a group going to a house, and each one is tasked with a specific thing. There would be one person taking a sample of the water, one person asking the person the questions,
Okay.
another one signing out the chain of custody form, then another one who is looking at the water, making sure that it's like if it's cloudy, not clear,
Mhm.
is clear, has like an odor and something like that. If they have a filter, what filter are they using?
Okay.
If they change their filter.
So that can play a huge role, obviously. So when you do change a filter, what if they've changed the filter? How much of a difference can that make?
It makes a really big difference because let's say if your filter has not been changed and your filter will no longer be taking out that all the harmful things that can be in your water. So if you're cutting it on, it will just be your regular faucet, and usually your filter will have like a little sign that says you need to change it, like a little red blinking light.
Okay.
And sometimes houses we went to did have that, so we would like put that down in our notes,
Okay.
so we would know that like, oh hey, this person didn't change their filter. And we would also have filters with us, like changeable filters.
Okay.
So we would be like, hey, oh, we noticed that your filter is not changed, so here's something. Or if they did, we would just give them filters anyway.
Okay. What kind of filters do you give? Like, what brand is it?
Some people had Pure, and we had those.
Okay.
And a lot of other people had like Brita.
Oh yeah, the Brita one. Yeah. Which one is? Do you think one or the other is better?
I think both are actually pretty good.
Okay. Because I'm saying, because some people may want to know, okay, which one is better for their household, and so if you could educate people about that. But both of them are good,
Yes.
obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, at the Flint Development Center, could you tell us the address, though, first of all, for people that want to know where it is?
Actually, I don't remember the address.
Okay. We'll give the address later. But I do know that you have a summer camp going on there, though, right?
That recently just ended, but we'll pick back up early in September.
Okay. So it'll be a regular school programming type of program? Okay. And what are the age ranges there?
I know they accept kids from like 4 all the way up to like early teenagers.
Okay.
Kind of mid-teenage, so yeah.
Okay. And then what programs are happening there? Or what have happened, during the summertime?
Well, during the summertime, we have like things like you can come in, bring your kids, and they'll be able to do things like arts and crafts, activities such as like basketball and active things like that. They do running. Recently, we just went to the Crim.
Okay.
And like we had our kids run there. It was actually out here.
Okay.
And yeah, they participated in that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So during this time of the summer, when you were testing the water and all of you were learning how to do this, did you teach any of the young kids how to do it so that, the ones that are old enough to understand, so that they can go on and show their parents or show their community how to test water? Because a lot of people don't know how to do it. Like for me, I would love to see how you do it, and you did show me, but I think a lot of people need to know, because we're not going to have the ability to be like, okay, I can drink my water or feel safe enough to drink my water. And if you have that knowledge and that education piece, more people would probably feel better about using their tap water if they know how to do it. So
what our group did was we actually made a video instructing people how to like sample their own water and what to do, where to take it.
Okay.
So like in the meantime, if someone does decide they want to test their water and the lab isn't built, we've also provided like a list of like places you can go to test your water, like to ship your water somewhere.
And where are some of those places?
I know there's a lab in Petoskey, Michigan that you can ship it to. And that's really the only one I know, because that's where we would ship our stuff to. Okay.
And tell me, you talked about the lab. This is something, already they have a lab there at the Flint Development Center, but you're building a whole new lab, right?
Yeah, so we want that lab to be certified. So when you do get your water tested and you have your results and you are unsatisfied, you are able to actually take that to court, since it is a certified lab. And those results will be taken seriously. Okay. And you will be able to be compensated. So like, hey, I have a problem. I can't drink this. I'm not going to pay a bill for water that I can't.
Yeah, because a lot of people are still paying for their water bill. Like, we're paying for our water bill. Our house is built newer, but still, we still use bottled water just to be safe. Yeah. So, can you talk about your household? Have you been able to educate your family about how to test your water? Like, you've done it for yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she said, like, before we go to any other homes out in the neighborhood, she asked all the other students to, like, take samples home from your home, and then tell your parents or guardians, whoever's watching you, like, what you're doing and how you're going to do it, and then like that, and it was pretty good. And
Okay.
those samples were also given results at the
Okay. So your household, was it safe or the
it
level
was
safe?
safe.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So I'm curious though, when you tell people that their water is safe,
Hmm.
did you notice a change in how they felt about their water? Were they
Um,
like, "Oh, I might drink it, I might not"?
well, a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
people were saying like yes, you have no lead in your water, but still use your filter in case there are other things.
Yeah, because you never know.
And during the day of like giving people results, we actually did find out that like, well, there were some people who had no lead in their water. There have was like, I don't want to say too many, but like maybe 5 that
Okay.
had things in the water that wasn't lead, but still that would cause problems such as
Yeah.
like copper, magnesium,
Yeah, there's so
iron.
many other things that you have to deal with, and
Hmm.
people don't realize
Yeah.
that.
So we
Okay.
were just like telling them still use your filter, flush your water out if you don't for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So that,
Before using it.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So, since this is youth and education based, I would like to know, as someone in school, what are you studying? What inspires you? Tell us about your life, what are you pursuing?
Right now I'm pursuing fashion design.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I am very much persuaded by things like colors,
Okay.
bright colors, pastels,
Okay.
anything like this room's very nicely
Oh yeah, so
decorated.
since okay, I have to ask. So, what inspires you right here on this set? Since you're going into fashion.
Well, right now I have to say this plant right here, the black and white, really goes well with what you have set up here in the silver. They're all these complementary colors.
Okay, so essentially, when you do get your education with fashion design, what do you plan to do? How do you plan to educate young people, or with your knowledge?
Well, a
Because I
lot
feel
of
like a lot of people probably think fashion is something that you can't really do a lot with, just from certain people's perspective. I think you can, so I would love to hear what you have to say about it.
well, actually, a lot of people don't know about with fashion that you can actually bring like environmental like greenness into it and being like safe and like using like recyclable materials
Okay,
and like biodegradable things.
I like that.
Like turning like plastic into like making it like flexible enough to become a fabric and
Right.
something like that, or
And
turning it into like accessories and a lot of things like that people don't know that you can use it for.
I'm glad you said that, because we have the bottled water. We're in Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
There's a problem with the bottled waters being wasted. So, what's something that you could bring to life with plastic? Have you ever thought about that with fashion?
Well, not just with fashion, but like that, like under like a broad thing like art, you can use such things for. Like plastic, you can always just melt it. Like I remember down at the museum, the art museum, there was like an art piece someone
At the
created.
FIA?
Yes.
Okay.
That someone used of like they found like a whole bunch of like bottle caps. And I remember it when I was in 9th grade. There was a thing where there was just like, hey, if you have any like water bottle caps, bring them up here.
Okay.
And there's this artist collecting them, and they're going to turn them into like this sculpture. And
I heard about that. I
yeah.
remember when they did that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can essentially do a lot with that and teach young kids how to be, economically savvy with taking those plastic bottles and doing a lot with it. So that ties into education. And where are you going to school?
I'm at Mount Morris High School.
Okay. And then tell me how old you are again?
I'm 17.
17.
Yes.
Okay, so we were having a discussion. You actually are not in the millennial range, but a lot of young people are in this community and they feel like they might not have a voice. Do you ever feel like you've faced certain challenges with this community? Because there's a lot of older people here, not to say that they don't have, a good faith with our young people, but I feel like we're going to be the ones essentially to make things happen. So this whole water crisis, what's something that you think you can put into the community to help?
Well, I think a lot of people don't necessarily think that young people are really affected between if you're not really like a little kid or not an older person that's paying like these bills. They think, oh well, you're just like there and you don't really know what's going on. And it's like, yes, I do know. Because in schools they're like, hey, are you okay? Do you need like resources or anything such as that? Because like schools will give you like places you can go. Like if you need like if you like I remember my schools like if you don't have like if you're not able to shower or do things like that at home, you can always come up to the school.
Right.
And there are showers you can
That's
use.
good.
So you can bathe yourself, or like if you need water, clothes, stuff like that, they will provide things that. And a lot of people don't know that like youth such as like teenagers are really affected by things like this. They're just like, well, I have to be careful because I'm not able to do things. This thing, like I remember one of the people I was working with. She was like, "Yeah, I was like, she had like a rash from like
Oh yeah, a
using
lot of people have
showers
rashes.
like that on her." And she was because like she didn't, cause like the way they're telling it is like only people that are really going to be affected by things of lead in the water are like kids and much older people, and like a lot of people my age are getting affected.
Oh yeah.
Such as like the rash from the water or
Right.
like getting sick and things like that. And I think that's very like kept under the table, so to say.
It is. And there needs to be more, you as a 17-year-old can definitely make a difference and kind of connect the pieces between the older generation, the younger generation, and get all generations help. So that's good you're doing that. And something I've been asking my guests, in high school or college, do you have a favorite subject that you're very fond of that you've learned about? History, math, science? Do you have a favorite one?
I would have to say between history and science.
Okay. And do you have a reason for that? Or
Well, science is very interesting because you're always learning something new, and it's like you think you understand the logistics of everything, and it's like wham, here's something else that's just like, oh my, like you learn about the human body and all the things that can do.
Right.
And then you like learn about like stuff in the world, like how matter and stuff like that, and like you can kind of like take little bits and bits of pieces of everything and kind of apply it to like what you want to do.
Right.
And I don't think people can like realize that. They're like, well, I'm doing this, but how can I have that to what I want to do? And I was like, well, take things that are similar and like kind of apply it, because people don't realize. They're just like, well, I want to do something medical, but right now I'm taking these art classes, and I'm just like, well, find something that kind of coincides. With science and kind of like bring it all together, because everything has like these pathways that are connected, and you just kind of have to find that little dirt road to kind of get there.
Because that's like me. I'm in pharmacy school, but I'm very right brain. I'm very creative. So when I'm studying, I have to do things to remember. I take my science and art background and I'll draw something or do so. Sometimes I can't just read everything and comprehend it. I have to make my own way, write things down, draw it. I even knew someone that did like a little dance to remember things. So the fact that you're saying you have to take things that are similar is good that you're doing that, because you'll get far with that, especially if you can think outside the box. In education, you have to think outside the box sometimes to kind of get things. So that's really good. And so tell me a little bit more about the Flint Development Center, because I want to go back to this piece because a lot of people don't know about it, or at least I didn't know about it until I was told about it. And I know that you've been putting it out more. So the funding, are you getting good funding for the lab that you're building? And then when you do get the lab built, are you going to do other things besides test water? Are you going to do science projects, teach kids about that? Like, what are you going to do?
Well, in terms of funding, the Flint Development Center does have several sponsors, such as Sheldon Neely, State Representative.
Okay.
And places like Walmart.
Oh, good. That's good. You have big brand names. Okay.
And I would say, could you repeat your question to me again?
Oh yeah. So this was a double question, but I was wondering. So you're getting sponsorship, but I was also wondering, besides the piece about educating people about their water, how to test it, with tying in science, are you going to teach younger kids, how to do science projects and just teach more of that aspect?
Well, the community center does definitely have like a lot of educational means. Like there is like a virtual library in there where we do teach kids a lot.
Okay.
Like how to read, and we are recently getting into like things like science and teaching them just like the basic things before we want to like teach them, like get into things about like water. So like when the lab is built, we're gonna like give everyone like a basic education so they can understand
Right.
what's going on.
Right. That's good. I'm glad you're doing that. And the kits though that you have, you said you told me this when I met you, but you're giving them out to the community, right?
Yeah, so if there are people when the lab gets built and they don't want people to come in there and taking their samples from their house, they can always come in there, get a kit, and then in that kit will be the things I mentioned before about like water bottle and bottle already filled with like water that has no lead levels in it or nothing in it. So it's something we can compare it to.
That's good. I want to have this kit so that I can do it for myself just to see how our water is. Like I said, our pipes are not affected with lead, but still it would like be good to see what else is lingering in those pipes.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to bring you to this portion of my podcast. I've been asking everybody, tell me about a time when you shined with great effulgence in school. So effulgent, again, is an adjective, which means to shine forth brilliantly. And I learned it in high school. So I'm giving you this graduation cap. You can put it on or you can just hold it. It might not be able to fit over your hairstyle. But I want you to just tell me about something in college or high school. Well, you're still
in high school.
Yes. So tell me about something in high school that you've done that made you really feel like you shined brightly.
Well, whenever I'm, I will say, working with friends, like help put together functions, like if there's like homecoming, volunteering to help set up, and I would say that like doing things like that with your friends does make you feel like you're part of like a bigger thing, like you're helping people or like you're going out of your way to like go places like such as the food bank,
right?
Where you would like gather like all the food, like as much food as you can, because you have like 20 minutes to like get some, and then like load it up, and then you go. And you make these little box packages that you can like give out to people like homes that need stuff like that. There would be like vegetables, cereal, powdered condensed milk,
right,
and formula and things like that, because you have to like make sure like everything's all inclusive. Like no, like there's a baby in the family just born,
right?
You got to really make sure you can include all those things, and like helping people makes you like feel a whole lot better. Right.
You really shine with great effulgence doing that. Community service is really good, and I'm glad you're doing that. And I'm pretty sure you always feel proud of everything you're doing. So if there's anything you'd like to share with us within these last, or educate us with these last couple minutes, feel free.
I guess I will educate people on like how lead can affect.
Yes, please do that.
And people don't understand, it's just like, well, a long lead exposure in like people like children, it'll start to bioaccumulate, which means like the lead will like settle in you and it'll like absorb into your bloodstream, and like side effects of that will like include diminish in IQ, stunt that kid's growth, and give them like handicaps,
right,
and stuff like that, which is terrible to hear.
It is.
And it's like, it's why, like, if you think that you do have lead in your water, you have to always get, like, a blood test. Always test to make sure. So then that's when you can really do something, because after that, there's nothing you can do. Because after that lead accumulates in you, it's undetectable.
Right.
Like, you can't
and you
take
can't
a blood
wait
test.
too long to get tested.
You can't take a blood test, because then they'll just be like, look at it and they'll say you're fine, like we couldn't find anything.
Right. And that's the scary part, because a lot of young kids haven't gotten tested and they're probably affected by it, but you won't ever really know, except for the physical maybe, or the speech wise. So continue to do what you're doing, Daryl. Continue to keep this up. So how long are you going to keep doing these water testings? Are you just going to keep going, right, for now? Or when are you going out again to test?
Well, for now, I know I don't have a meeting with my boss until like October.
Okay.
And that's where I'm going to Detroit to meet with like other organizations doing the same thing that I am. Okay. And she invited me to go, so I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely come up there and check out these meetings, offer my input. Okay. A different point of view. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Daryl Sparks, for being here, and continue to do what you're doing with the Flint Development Center. And we look forward to the lab being built and just help our community. So this has been Erin on Education, and thank you so much.